Are you ready? The Cornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Cornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Cornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cornelia Stephanie Show. It is an exciting lineup that we have for you today. I'm excited to introduce you to our first guest on Stories of Hope, Dominique Clifton. She's a clarity coach and a business strategist. She is on a mission to empower 1,000 women entrepreneurs. She has a 90-day business coaching program, Transformation University, and she teaches women to gain clarity, boost their confidence, and build successful businesses. Dominique helps women gain clarity on their ideal client, their messaging, and creating an aligned business strategy. She's the founder of Move and Still, and she also offers stress reduction services to organizations. She's passionate about storytelling. Dominique holds the School of Healing podcast, authored Hold Space to Heal, and finds her greatest joy as a proud mom to Yara and Zuri. Did I say that right, Dominique?
Yeah, you did.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the show today.
Thank you so much for having me today, Cornelia.
That's quite a mission you have.
Yeah, quite a mission.
Yeah. How did you end up with this mission? There must have been a before story.
Yeah. So it's been, I feel like my whole life over the last maybe 7 years has made a lot of sense. I've gone through so many challenges starting at a very young age. And when I say young age, I mean my conception story was a very traumatic story. And so I grew up having a lot of unresolved trauma that I just learned to suppress at a very young age. I did a really good job of masking that, those internal feelings. And so I started emotionally eating, and that I couldn't get control of, but then I did really well with academics and high achieving. And so I did really good at putting on a mask and pretending that I was okay. But I always say, like, when the curtain came down and the show was over, I had these internal voices that just were screaming and reminding me of how I was unworthy. I had so much shame and guilt. And I existed that way for about 2.5 decades. And I just got tired of living that way. I was feeling like I was called to be more and to do more. I wasn't sure at the time what that was, but I could feel that I was being called to do more. And so I went on my own healing journey, which started about 7 years ago now. And the work that I do today is really a result of my own healing journey. I never thought I would be a coach. I never thought I would be, offering stress management and trauma recovery services to folks. But as I was able to heal and work through a lot of my own trauma, and a lot of the stories that I was holding, then I began to want to really empower other folks to do the same. And so that is really why I'm so passionate about the work that I do, particularly empowering women. And so that is, I would say, like the origin of how I've gotten here. I've had a lot of pivots on my journey. I've always allowed myself to be open and curious along the way. So when something doesn't feel right, I give myself permission to figure out, what is a better alignment process for me. And so in just learning and following the breadcrumbs, I've been, really guided and led to support other women and figuring out their purpose and offering their gifts to the world.
Yeah, that's quite the journey. I mean, listening to, the old stories about how not good enough we are, right? Listening to those stories and then having the realization, hey, there's more for me and I'm meant to do more. I'm meant to be more. It's not really true that I'm not good enough because, and having those realizations on that healing journey, it's profound to go through that. But then at the same time, to then turn your healing then into a business to support other women, first with also their own wounding as well, and then also supporting other women to become empowered in business and scale their business and market their business and find out who their ideal clients are. And being an entrepreneur is challenging
Yeah.
because that you have to jump through a lot of hoops. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I have been dabbling in entrepreneurship now for over a decade, but I was always just kind of trying to figure out like what was my thing. And so I've done so many things. I've like gone to makeup school, like way back in like 2007, 2008, I went to makeup school. I have gone to culinary school. I've done like life insurance. It was like this point in my life where I was just like allowing myself to be curious and experiment. It was only about 5 years ago that I feel like things started to make sense a little bit more, but there were still a lot of pieces that I was having a hard time understanding on the entrepreneurial journey. And so I kept investing in coaches and programs and like looking and hoping that someone would, give me the answer. And I would never have the success that I desire to have. And so I kept, investing and it was like throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping something would stick. What happened eventually, though, when I wasn't seeing the success that I was desiring, really putting in so much energy and effort, I started to think that there was something wrong with me because I was looking out at the world and saying, "Man, everyone else can figure this out." Like that old voice of self-doubt really came back to me, and I started really questioning myself. My own confidence began to erode, and it wasn't until, thankfully, the universe like allowed me to meet a very dedicated mentor, and that was what really opened things up for me and began to help me to understand where the gaps were in my journey. And that's why I'm so passionate about the work that I do, because so many of us have a story to tell. We have, services and gifts to offer the world, but we don't oftentimes know where to start. And so it's helpful to have someone to guide you. And when you're trying and you aren't able to figure it out, sometimes people quit, right? Like what they can be really close, but they give up. And so for me, it's like after going through really 4 or 5 years of trying to figure things out and making so many mistakes and learning so many lessons, I have been really dedicated and passionate about helping other women. And even in the midst of that, I'm a co-parenting mom. So I've gone through divorce, and so there's been like trying to find my footing again after separating. And so entrepreneurship hasn't been an easy journey, but it's also very rewarding to know that I'm walking in my purpose and able to help other people as they are figuring it out and really committed to their own purposes as well.
Yeah, it sounds like you've really integrated all the different things, always coming back to yourself and saying, you know, like you said, I also had to pivot. I had to, I had to listen. And
Mhm.
it's like you said, it's hard to do, but when you are really in alignment with your purpose and you really feel called, then there's that discipline that's required to show up for it.
Yeah.
Because you're the one that's in charge, you're the one that's making the decisions.
Yeah, yeah. I love two things you said, alignment, which I'm really big on, and discipline. Alignment, I think, is so important. And this is why I'm also so passionate about like the frame. I teach a clarity first framework, because it's one thing to start a business, but it's another thing to start a business that really is a reflection of who you are and is in alignment with who you are. I talk to women all the time who've maybe worked a corporate job for 20, 30 years. And so when they step into entrepreneurship, they just assume that they have to do the thing that they've done, right? It's just like, well, this is the thing that I know, but they it doesn't light them up. They're not fulfilled by that work. Like I say, it's you should be doing the thing that sets your soul on fire. And if you don't feel like you're doing that thing, then you're not necessarily in alignment. And that is something that, warrants a pivot. And so I'll have conversations with women and it's like, well, it's not really working the way that I want it to work. Or I'm not really excited about the work. And it's like, that's a sign if you're not feeling fulfilled or you're feeling like there's something missing, that's a sign of misalignment. And so the work that I do is really about self-discovery and guiding women to understand themselves, their gifts, their skills, their talents, their passions, their values, and then taking all of those really beautiful things and now looking at what can I create from this that offers a solution in a way that I'm really passionate about, but something that is truly a reflection of who I am. And I've been able to do that. I talked about all the past lives I lived and all the things that I've tried. My business coaching program is unique because it infuses so many things. So there's self-discovery, there's stress management. I used to burn out so much as an entrepreneur in the beginning, and then I started to understand stress. And so I'm teaching women not just how to build a business, but how to build a business in a way that's sustainable, right? When you're maybe balancing a family, perhaps starting out working a full-time job, like you're juggling many hats. And so I think that that alignment piece is extremely important.
Yes. Wow, that's I can tell that you are very integrated with your work and you're, you're passionate about it and also serious
Yeah.
about it.
Thank
And so
you.
that's how we have to be. I can really tell. I want to let the audience know how they can find you on social media and also your website.
Sure. Thank you so much for asking and for giving me the opportunity. So my website is domrclifton.com, domrclifton.com. And if you go to my website, there's, a ton of free resources. So I'm a yoga instructor, breathwork meditation instructor. And so there's like free breathwork sessions for folks. It's so important for us to manage our stress regardless of whether we're entrepreneurs or not. It's really helpful when you're an entrepreneur because it is stressful. And so there's free resources there that folks can check out. And then for anyone who is an entrepreneur, you can take the Entrepreneurial Clarity Assessment, which is on the homepage of my website. So if you're feeling stuck in your business or maybe misaligned, that's a really great first step to help you figure out where you're getting stuck right now.
It's so good. And then did you say you had a podcast?
I do. Thank you. Yes. And I have a podcast. It's called The School of Healing, and it's available on all major platforms. And that's really geared towards women entrepreneurs, giving tools, tips, resources to help them along their journeys.
Yeah. Well, I salute you for, empowering the women because they are the ones that are making the world a better
Yeah.
place. And
Yeah.
this is our time. This is our call. So thank you so much, Dominique, for coming on the show. I want to, we're going to go take a break on the Cornelia Stephanie Show, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. I am excited to introduce you to our next guests. We have two of them, Colleen Rosenblum and Bridgett Garratt. We're here to talk about menopause, they say. The menopause conversation is growing, yet the post-menopausal discussion remains the same crickets. Colleen and Bridgett from the Hot Flashes and Cool Topics podcast seek to bring light to the post-menopausal period, one they describe as the most freeing and empowering of their entire lives. These two businesswomen feel that women gain the most important thing of all post-menopause, the privilege to put yourself first, walk away from all the rest. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you so much for having us.
So you decided to come out and talk about menopause because
we were both in it.
We couldn't find answers. Yes, there was a lot that we could not find answers to, and we have discovered quite a bit.
And yeah, do you want to share some of those things with us today?
Just course. Yeah, I mean, all the symptoms, there's 34 plus symptoms of menopause. We always heard about hot flashes. We always heard about, I don't know, low libido, but then there's muscle aches, there's joint pain, there's brain fog. There's so much that we didn't know about beforehand.
And we started this podcast in 2019 where there was no conversation on menopause for the most part. So once that conversation kind of opened to the world, we got to explore with a lot of experts, menopause experts, about the options out there that women deserve to know about. Yet most doctors are not educated through the regular academic programs to understand.
Yeah, I went into menopause in 2020. So, yeah, and that was hard because we had the 2020 and then we had the COVID. So that was very interesting, and I certainly was looking for information during that time as well. So I'm glad you ladies are talking about it. It's an important piece because our children and our children's children need to be educated about this ahead of time, don't you think?
Oh,
absolutely. Yes. We always say we want our kids, we both have daughters, to take for granted the information we had to fight to get. And it is through conversations like this that women are being empowered to say, no, millennials are now going into menopause. Well, now all of a sudden they're saying, I need information here. I deserve it. So it's up to the Gen Xers like ourselves to say, here it is.
Yeah. So what would be the top things what do you want people to know? Like, because we have a short time here, how do you want people to get started if they have questions about it? First of all, to follow you on your podcast.
Yes. Follow us on Hot Flashes and Cool Topics podcast. And also the big thing with the world, the health initiative, Women's Health Initiative of 2002, that hormones are really not so bad. That was a big thing, big reason I didn't go on hormones, is you really have to research it. You really have to find a menopause certified clinician. Menopause Society and menopause.org is a great place to go to find a physician or clinician in your area. So that is one thing. What else, Colleen, would you like to add to that?
That you deserve health care. You know, things like sex should not hurt. There are conversations that women are having now that they were embarrassed to have years ago. Menopause, you know, perimenopause can last anywhere from 3 to 10 years. Menopause itself is one day. Well, what are you going to do for the next 30, 40, 50, hopefully years of your life? And we are addressing the health issues. We feel like women are very smart. Give them the information and they can make decisions about their own health care. And you're not crazy. You don't have early onset Alzheimer's. Make a list of things. We always say to women, you get a very short amount of time with your doctor. Make a list of your questions so that you go in there empowered. And if you do the research, which is now out there, you'll actually be able to have a conversation, sometimes knowing more than your doctor does.
Right. Yeah, I want to add to that, Colleen. Another surprising thing we found out while we were starting this podcast and doing is the amount of education that is lacking, even in gynecologists. Because for me, that was my first line of defense. And I was told, oh, no, you can't go on hormones. No, I'm not going to do that, because my mother had had a blood clot, like 20 years ago, and they weren't going to let me go on hormones. There are people that are children of breast cancer survivors that are on hormones. So your gynecologist may not be well educated in menopause.
Well, when we know that even, our healthcare system, the doctors, they're not trained in nutrition. There's a lot of things that they're not trained in. And menopause is, like you said, from that time period when they weren't talking about it, it's now just coming out, where this is now being talked about so that it can be healed, and that, women can get educated from early on. But I think it's a really important piece, what you said. And I did have somebody on my podcast once, like a year or so ago. And she explained this to me too. And I just heard you say it too. What is that, Colleen? Yeah. Is that menopause is in one day.
One day.
That part I didn't realize, because I was thinking at that time, oh yeah, I'm in menopause, like I'm still in it or whatever. But that realization that, yep, I went into menopause, it happened on that day, and now that's it. Now I'm on a different, I'm past it. Kind of.
Exactly. You're always technically in menopause for the rest of your life, but we like to call it post-menopause because, you don't wake up feeling 100% again. It takes time. It would be great if we did, but our estrogen has left the building. So we have to find ways to compensate for that. There are natural ways. There's menopause therapy. Every woman is unique. You need to know your family history, and you need to engage in what's going on. There are podcasts, there's books, there's so many wonderful menopause experts on social media, but be careful, because there's also some charlatans out there that are trying to sell you something if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So be careful, do your research.
Yeah, and that's, I think, what it is that you two are advocating, and that is self-empowerment. Learning about it, listening to people that you trust, educate yourself, so that you can, when you said it, when you go into your doctor, that you are empowered, that you're not victimized by, that you're clear on what it is that you need, what it is that you want. I think too, isn't that how it is with the universe? When we're clear on what it is that we want, we can be more matched up better with people that match that frequency.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely. That is true.
Yeah. So I want to let the audience know, tell us about where to go and join your podcast, how we listen to it, how often you guys put it out, and then also to follow you on your social media handles.
Well, thank you so much. We probably have over 300 episodes that you can find on any podcast platform. They are all free. Apple Podcasts, you can go to our website, hotflashescooltopics.com. We have our menopause episodes actually on a separate page, or you can just, because we also have cool topics. So it's all midlife and beyond, anything to do with midlife and beyond we discuss. We are on TikTok. We are on Instagram. We have a great YouTube channel with a lot of information, because sometimes when you listen to a podcast, you're not getting the full effect of what a doctor or an expert or an author or trailblazer in midlife is saying. So we do have hundreds of videos on our YouTube channel, which is also Hot Flashes and Cool Topics.
Yeah.
And every
And
Wednesday.
Instagram.
I'm
Yeah, every
sorry.
Wednesday.
Yes.
Yes.
Every Wednesday is a new episode. We've been doing it for 5 years, and I don't think we've missed a Wednesday.
No, I don't think so.
That's huge, ladies. That is huge. Congratulations on doing it for
Thank you so
this
much.
long. And I'm sure that, you know, so many women have been helped by what it is that you're offering them.
Well, thank you. Thank you. That's our goal, is to help women. We just want them to be informed and to be educated and make their choices.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming on the Cornelia Stephanie show and talking about menopause so that our children's children will have an easier time of that, right?
Right.
Thank you for
so
having
much.
us on.
Yes.
We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Awesome. We're going to take a break on the Cornelia Stephanie show. We'll be right back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. Our next story is amazing because this is one of the ladies that we're going to experience here for the first time, Kellina Powell. She is a dynamic deaf coach and advocate. She's an international speaker and best-selling author and passionate entrepreneur that is dedicated to helping young adults with their disabilities and achieve their dreams. Her mission extends beyond personal coaching. She is committed to educating the wider community about the deaf experience and fostering a more inclusive society. Kellina's journey is nothing short of extraordinary. She lost 100% of her hearing at the age of 4, a challenge that would have deterred many. Yet being hard of hearing has not stopped her from pursuing her aspirations. She earned a bachelor's degree in psychology and a postgraduate certificate in mental health and addiction, equipping herself with the knowledge and skills to support others on their journeys. Kellina's determination and resilience shine through in her achievements. She became a life coach, guiding young adults with disabilities to overcome obstacles and reach their goals. Her inspirational book, Every Day I Am Just Deaf, quickly became an Amazon bestseller, resonating with readers worldwide and offering a profound insight into her life and the lessons that she learned. Welcome to the show today, Kellina Powell.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Wow, I just, have to say how absolutely inspiring and heroic what you achieved and gone through, and what an inspiration you are.
Thank you. Thank you. It took a while to get here, but I made it. I made it.
You made it. So you went through a lot of the walls that could come up against you that would deter you to stop you from really living your dreams, or living living a full life with after having faced a disability like that.
Yes. Yeah, a lot. It wasn't easy. Being the first person in my family who was deaf, it was not easy. My family always wondered, how can we communicate with a 4-year-old who don't know anything about sign language or anything about communicating? And that was something that my family did struggle, and they tried to figure it out. So my family instead wanted me to focus on verbal speaking, but also a little bit of sign language, just because they would think about my future, right? They were thinking that, not everybody knows sign language, but you got to learn how to talk. And so it was definitely a very interesting way how I grew up. So.
Wow, yeah. So I mean, it was a learning curve for both of you, your family, and then also for you. And so you guys learned together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Always.
So
Always.
how did you, did you get speech therapy? I mean, how did that?
Yeah, so I did a speech therapist as soon I became deaf. So my family noticed that my speech was getting delayed slowly with my hearing loss, because I couldn't hear the same as I was before. So every word that was pronouncing was completely different for when I hear. And so that was something that my family was like, "Okay, what? This could actually happen to me, like my daughter." And so, yeah, so I did a lot of speech therapy from when I was 4 years old to, I would say, when I was in grade 9. So I basically had a speech therapist all the way through my childhood. So it was challenging at times because I was getting frustrated, and obviously I was being bullied when I was younger because of my speech. And so a lot of kids would ask me like, "Oh, why do you talk like that? You talk so funny." And realistically, it was just me trying to learn how to talk with a speech therapist.
That's, I mean, because kids can be cruel, especially that
Yeah.
age, right? Kids can be cruel. I mean, and yeah, and you being bullied, that's another thing to overcome. That's another thing to have to deal with. That would be another one of those walls that could deter you from just not coming out because the world doesn't seem safe. It's when you constantly keep getting, I don't know, shamed for what you're dealing with, basically. And did I hear you say that you have a daughter?
No, my mom. So she's like my daughter.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
not
daughter.
me.
I
Yeah.
say, yeah, because I was gonna say you look really young.
No, I'm not ready yet, you guys. I'm not ready
No.
for kids.
Yeah. Well, you look really beautiful too, young and
Thank you.
beautiful.
Thank you.
So, what inspired you to become a speaker, become an author, and become a coach?
So very simple question. Have you ever read a book by a deaf author or met a deaf speaker or met a deaf coach before?
No.
That's why. So I wanted to inspire a lot of the hearing community, what it's like to be deaf and hard of hearing community, bridging the gap between the two, because I felt like when I was growing up, I didn't have anybody to look like me or anybody who was a role model. And that was something that I struggled a lot when I was growing up, especially my high school days. I really wanted to find a therapist, a counselor that could actually understand who I am as a person, not just someone who think, oh, maybe you should do that. So that's why I choose to become an author, speaker, and a coach. Just really inspire the next generation, let them know that they are not alone in this world, and there are someone out there that looks like them, and that could be actually be the role model.
Yes, that's that's so beautiful is that you turned it back into what you would have wanted. What you would have wanted. You wanted somebody like that. And then that supported you in stepping into your alignment with being able to help people now, right?
Exactly.
And so did you enjoy writing your book?
I did. Even though it was a little bit difficult in the beginning because I didn't know how do I want people to take it, and because it was a poetry book, so it wasn't like a chapter book at all. And I know poems can be a little bit sensitive for some people, so I want to make sure that I would coming across with my message very clear and nothing too negative. So it was very great, but I had a great editor who fully understand where I was coming from. So
That's great. That's great. I know that like writing a book and putting yourself out there, you have to go through walls. You have to, you have to go through self-doubt, all the things. And it's a lot to finish the project. It's one thing to write the book and then to publish the book and then to really get it out there. So
yeah.
do you use your book to get to speak on stages, to gain speaking engagements and
Yeah, I also use my book and also my social media platform. They help me so much because I'm really going crazy on social media. I love engaging with people, and of course LinkedIn as well. LinkedIn's been a killer and game changer for me.
social media? So where are you active?
So I'm very active on LinkedIn and Instagram. Of course, Instagram is my favorite, but yeah.
Yeah. Why is Instagram your favorite?
I feel like you got to interact more than any other platform. So I got to, because you can post a story versus Facebook. They just started coming up with a story where it's attached to Instagram. So I felt like Instagram was a bit more youthful and more, it helped you be more creative, I would say. I'm a very creative person. So I think that's why I like Instagram.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, let's tell the audience how they can find you. First, do you have a website as well,
Yes,
or
yes, yes.
let's give the website and also social media handles.
Definitely. So website is kellinaempowerment.com, and Instagram, @queenboss, and Facebook, Kellina Powell, and same thing with Instagram, Kellina Powell.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, what do you want to say to the audience, the people that are listening? Perhaps there's someone that's listening that knows somebody, or somebody that's listening might be able to experience themselves in your story. What is it that you want to say to them?
I just wanted to say that you have one life to live. If God were to come into your dream tonight and he said you have a timeline, what would you do? Exactly. You would do anything in your power to live the best life you want. You deserve that life you want.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So what's next for you in 2025? What is it that you're going to be focusing on?
I'll definitely be focusing on doing a lot more partnership with disability community and creating my children book, which I'm excited. My very first children book with all children who are disabled, which I'm super excited.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, once you get that book written, be sure to come back to the Cornelia Stephanie Show and tell us about it.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. You're a wonderful speaker, wonderful energy, wonderful presence. I feel really blessed to have you here. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, audience, for listening and tuning into the Cornelia Stephanie Show. We are closing out the show. We want to wish you a very happy holiday season and a very still solstice for tomorrow, because tomorrow is the winter solstice, and wishing you a wonderful, wonderful season. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in, and we'll see you again next week, Friday, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Cornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Cornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Cornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at corneliastephanie.com.